I'm back! Welcome to the return of the Hunter Wild to the land of the living. And the purple, by which I mean Twitch. Let me take a minute to introduce you to a lot of the new and fresh stuff that we're going to be bringing out in order to experience it together. Let me start out by saying that I have always been fascinated by fungi and mushrooms, like almost on a spiritual level. There's just something about them that's always filled me with wonder and excitement. Even as a little kid, and you can probably see why. A lot of cultures have looked at fungi and mushrooms as divine, the god flesh, even leading to immortality. Otherwise, flat out just seeing them as some mystically elevated earth thing. And this is for a lot of good reasons. Think about it. They spring up overnight out of nothing. They are delicious, edible, healthy, and nutritious. Deadly, nasty, and poisonous as a mother musker. They grow from dead stuff. They grow from live stuff. They can cause you to go on a spiritual journey or ride into the depths of hell. They've been shown to help with depression, anxiety, PTSD, and a whole host of mental and biochemical issues. It's super weird stuff, too. There's a fungus that can turn ants into zombies. And when they do, it is wild. And to go into their ranges, some people think that Viking berserkers would ingest the same mushroom that Mario uses to become very large. They've got their own kingdom. One of 5 kingdoms that define all of life. And there are over 5 million species of fungus. 5 million species, categorically distinct types of 5 million. They were here before us. In fact, they may have contributed pretty deeply to the creative evolution of humankind, and they will be growing from our bodies after our species has completely gone kaput. Did you know the largest organism on land is a fungus in 2,200 acres? Like, that's how we have to measure the size of this fungus, in acres. Now you can see why I have been so infatuated with mushrooms my whole life, and why I also want to introduce them to the stream. You'll see these new characters popping up all over the place, and that family is going to continue to grow over time. Even better, the Kitsune Fox is representation of HB Fox, who has diligently and constantly worked behind the scenes to craft the entirety of this stream and this brand, just not as visibly as I have been. So you will be seeing that character pop up from time to time, and maybe in some unexpected ways, which I'm really excited about. So watch out for that mischievous guy. As I'm sure you've seen now, we have a whole suite of brand new emotes for you guys to be able to enjoy all across the Twitchosphere that do, in fact, include these characters. There is, in addition to that, a new emote prefix. Keep that in mind. It used to be Musk, but it's not anymore. Now it is THW. One letter shorter, but more representative of the stream. THW, TheHunterWild. You can piece it together. We're also starting fresh with a new currency, a new in-stream currency called Spores. Mushrooms. And we advise you to start stockpiling now. You'll see why soon. But for those of you with stockpiles of musk, don't fret. We're actually going to be giving you opportunities to use those during some of our throwback streams, which we'll be letting you know more about coming up soon. You can, of course, check your currency right now by typing !spores in our Twitch chat. Of course, I would be wildly remiss if I did not talk about our Patreon. The Patreon that we launched back at the beginning of the hiatus, which was in late April, has gone through some serious changes. We initially had it with all of these really fantastic founders features. If you were one of the first people to get on board, you got a lot of really special stuff. Now we have maintained it as a fixture of the stream, but moved into a completely different and really incredible reward set. So if you haven't seen it since we were doing the founder stuff, I highly recommend that you go over and check it out, which you can do at patreon.com/TheHunterWild, and or in our Twitch chat, you can just type !Patreon. If you get any value out of the stream, consider this a way to invest back, to give value back into the stream. Our goal with Patreon is to give community members another way of engaging and interacting with me and the stream, as well as supporting the development of all these really interesting ideas and this curious, sometimes innovative, but often experimental content that we want to do too. It's a way to do all of this collectively together. We're also expanding into YouTube, which, in conjunction with Patreon, is giving us a new way to explore some really interesting content. Just head over to youtube.com/TheHunterWild TV, and you can see some of that stuff today. Plus, if you go and subscribe, you'll be able to see all of the neat stuff that we start pumping out in the near future, too. You can also type !YouTube in the Twitch chat. Makes it easy. One important thing to note is that the frequency and face of launch events is actually going to be changing to highlight more games from indie developers. We hope that this shift will allow us to provide more interesting giveaways and contests and creations, as well as showcase new games that you might not otherwise see. Indie games have been a really big part of my life and my career. Everything from being a game developer to them being a main focus of mine, moving up on Twitch initially and in through partnership. Indie studios and games, they take more risks, and there's just a much greater richness and robustness and diversity to them. As a community that focuses on mutual support and becoming better together, it seems to just make a lot of sense that we would focus on and help highlight and boost the popularity and discovery of independent games that are ultimately just as interesting and flavorful as you are. This hiatus has been incredibly valuable, and we hope that you enjoy the living heck out of a lot of these new changes. But we had so many ideas that there was really no way that we were going to be able to tackle them all. We are really looking forward to rolling out these other ideas and the next phases of our evolution and growth as a stream and a community in the near and distant future. In the meantime, we invite you to follow along on our roadmap. !Roadmap in the chat. Pretty excited to be able to show the intended pathing and progress. I am extremely excited to embark on this together with you. Thank you for joining me.